too much edited, this is edited, this is Photoshop, this is, it's like it became a saying, you know, it's a trend now, whoever says about it. But does it mean that when you shoot anything with a camera, what comes out of it, this is a true photo or a true representative of what you were there or saying or seeing there? Depends on? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a different point. Now, what I mentioned is people who believe, actually, photos are not meant to be edited. They are meant to be captured, and then that's it. Yeah. So just to clarify some of the points here, any camera you guys shoot with, if I shoot with, I'm using Sony now. Who uses Canon? Okay, who uses Nikon? Fuji? Anyone else? Oh, wow. Okay, so we have diversity here, but what is the reason behind it? One of them is the color science. In every single camera, there is a different color science. People with Canon, they always brag with the color science. I used to be a Canon shooter at one point. But if it is not the same, that means there is no true identification of a capture or what you are actually seeing. That means this camera processes the photo in a way different than the other camera. Okay? Another point is lenses. We know that lenses have what? Distortions, right? We have a distortion that looks like a barrel distortion and so on for the fisheye distortion and so on. And we have like more of a native distortion, I would say. And this kind of native distortion is built into the focal length. Okay? So basically, the focal length we have from 24, as a landscape photographer, from 24 to 35, I would say this is a true representation of what my eye sees. In portraits, people would argue it's 50 or 85. And in other ways, it's different. That means if you have a wide-angle view, wide-angle lens, like 16 or even 12, nowadays we go to 10 or 11, I believe, you will see a lot of distortion. And the barrel distortion, I would say, in these very wide angles, usually takes everything outside and squeeze it all the way inside. And you will see whatever is in the middle, in the back, is maybe 10 times smaller than the actual size of it. And we still shoot and represent the photo like it is. And we say this is the true image. This is unedited. For me, if you are happy with what you have, with what the camera gives you, that's fine. But arguing with people that editing them makes them not true somehow, I would argue with you. Because there is also an extent to where you can put the red line when it comes to editing. At the same time, we, in landscape, approach something called perspective blending. And this technique, what we use actually, I used here in this photo. I wanted the whole wide angle of the area from here to there and everything in between. But at the same time, the main subject matter in my photo was too small to be a subject matter. If I shoot it in 24 or 20 something, it will look more like real life, the size of it. But because I shot it in a very, very wide angle, ultra wide angle, it becomes very small and tiny. So to counter that, I don't let my camera decide for me. I don't let my lens decide for me. I want it to be a more true representation of what I saw. This is my argument here. Okay? So what I did, I took two photos, one of which is the wide angle, that captures all the area here and here and everything here, and then another one with 24, and I captured this area here only. And why did I choose this? And I knew that I can easily put these together and it will look natural. It will look more representative to real life. Why? Regardless the editing. I don't think it's real life editing, okay? It's more artistic way, but I mean the scene itself. Now, what I did here is I look into the horizon or into the elements of my photo, and I can see a clear line here that can separate the foreground and the middle ground from the background. So now I know I have a clear separation. I can easily stitch this later on from the 24, this and the sky and this, and take this and this from the wide angle. If I stitch them together, it will look more natural. Now, perspective blending, it's a huge subject. But I would encourage you, if you want to try this, do not go overboard with it. So I would also argue there is a range that you need to consider when you want to blend. Do not go from, let's say, 16 to 50. The gap between them, 35 mm, is too huge. It will look way fake. If you want to blend perspectives, always stick to minimal difference in focal length. And what I mean here is usually between 10 to 15 is okay. But the more you have a difference, a gap between those two, the more it will look unnatural to the human eye. Okay? Yes? 16, and then 24, taking another one. So basically, the time gap between those two shots are almost nothing. Yes? 2 shots. It's exactly the same. This was smaller in the wide angle shot. So because this is my subject matter, and I can see it clearly, it's not that small, but because of the distortion of the 16 mm, it's very, very small. I wanted to counter that with the perspective blending. Okay? But always, always, when you're shooting, think about where you will be blending these two photos. If you don't have a clear separation between those two, 99% you will not manage to make it natural. Okay? Okay. What time is it? Now 6. Okay. Discussing human eye limitations. And here I'm talking about colors. Now, from editing photos over these many years, I've discovered few things when it comes to my own of editing. And I believe anyone who's doing post-processing at some stage will face something similar. And I wanted to highlight one thing that I've actually managed to pull after a few years, and it's very easy, but I did not think about it back then. I don't know why, but now I do it almost all the time. Now, we look at colors and edits differently than each other. You can come here, have a full session with Khalid. He clearly tells you what he's doing to every single photo. And then you go back home, you try the same thing, but it's not the same. Why is that? That goes because every single one of you guys have their own eye limits when it comes to colors, when it comes to exposures, when it comes to contrast, everything. So you guys will use the same tool, but you will stop at different numbers. And that produces a whole different edit. Why? Because I see this is good, you see that one is good. You get what I'm saying here? Clear? Okay, so now after a while, when I'm editing, I always discovered after I finished the photo, and one of the fortunate things that I have for the last couple of years, I started to surround myself with like-minded people. And I urge you to do the same, especially if you have plans to take this professionally or have it like something that can bring you income in the future. And this also something I always go back to. When I finish a photo, it took me hours, let's say 3 hours to finish. And then my eyes get used to the photo that I cannot see the flows anymore. And this comes down to the limitations of the way we see it. And we need to refresh our minds. So what should we do? Exactly. This is one very effective solution. Close it down, come back after a while, maybe a day, maybe 5 hours, maybe 2 days, maybe a week. And 90% of the time, you would say, oh, wow, what did I do with this? I need to lower down something, add something in, take out something. How did I not notice this? And for me right now, because I have a couple of my friends with me, I always ask, guys, what do you think? Can you spot something for me here? So they say, oh, wow, this is you missed the light in this area, or the subject matter does not have enough focus on it, or let's say light on it, or the colors is off. This is the usual thing. The color is off. So after a while, from getting these inputs from my closest friends, and from noticing it after a while when I come back to the photo, I notice it's 90% of the time, the photo is very warm. So now I understand that my eyes needs calibration. Okay? So what I do is, every time I finish a photo, without asking my friends, I go to the 90% issue that I have, which is make it a little bit colder. You're overboard. Try to make the photo less warmer and see and decide. So here's one example. I have this, and after a few days, I tried to change it. This is before I decided to use the same logic. Now I'm using it. Now I decided to change it. I make it a little bit from here. I make it colder. Now, which one of these two do you think is more balanced when it comes to for color? No, don't. Loving, even I love that one, But let's say the combinations of colors. So which one would you say is more balanced? This one, right? Okay, so I did not see this at the beginning. I always have the same mistake. So what I wanted to highlight for you now or today, guys, study your own eye, and you can skip a lot of things. Meaning, if you know that you always tend to warm things like I do, warm things up. So whenever I finish editing any photo, I try to cool it down. Let's take some out of that warmth from the image and then decide again, compare. You will be shocked how every time maybe, or 90% of the time, you will end up going to this step every time. For me, it's almost every time. It doesn't have to be for you, but at some point, for me, this is the color shift that I have in my eye. I always tend to go for something too warm at the beginning, and then I try to balance it out. So try to find what are the, I wouldn't say flaws, but what your eyes get used to very fast when you edit, and how to counter them. From time to time, you will just skip even asking people, what do you think? You already know what you have, or what the point that you repeat doing all the time. So having this last step, for me, cooling down photos, always helps. Gives me even more confident of publishing a photo, even if I finished editing it a while back. I don't have to marinate it or keep it there until I discover something about it. Same thing goes for you. So understand what are the limitations that you guys, or your eyes get used to these things, that you don't notice them anymore. And once you find that, study your own eye. Once you find that, try to counter it by the end of any edit and then compare. This will save you a lot of time and will get you better results. Okay? Number 7, discussing third dimension and light sculpting. Okay, so one point that I always say in my courses and workshops is whenever we shoot landscapes, we tend to, when we edit them, basically what the software does, because we edit globally. Okay, anyone knows the difference between global edits and local edits? Okay, okay, so basically, only few. Global edits is when you use exposure, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, and so on. These are called global edits because it affects basically the whole image. Okay, and local ones or local edits are basically when you choose the filter, let's say Lightroom, you pick a filter, put that circle on, and then you're only affecting a small portion of the photo. That's called local edit. Okay, so I always advise for local edits. I don't encourage actually global edits. Why is that? Because in landscape, when you punch that contrast slider globally, what happens is it kills the dimension of the photo. It basically feels more 2D. You lose all of these details here, 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 and it becomes all the contrast here and here will be similar to each other, no difference between them. But in reality, the more further you go in distance, the less contrast you should have. So that's why our eyes as human beings, perceive this as dimension. And then here you can clearly and easily see this is in front because it's super dark, and then this, and then that, and then this one, and then this, that one, and that one. You can clearly see it here because why? I tried my best to preserve this. Now what the majority of people do, and I see this all the time, when they try to edit, they go with contrast and clarity and so on. This affects the whole image, and they end up having all of these dimensions killed. So what I tell them usually is, if you do that and you like the results, at least counter that issue later on in the edit. By the end of it, try to bring some of these things back again. Otherwise, you will have like a 2D image. You will kill the third dimension. And usually, also, if you have a big depth of field or something, you will usually have in the front, it's more colder, I would say. And then it tends to go more warmer as you go in. This is also a very smooth and natural transition for the eye to go through. Okay? So just keep those 2 points in mind. The first one with the depth. And if you, by any chance, when you put the photo at the beginning in the Anally, in the Lightroom, Photoshop, you will notice there are some like separations in between. But the moment you raise up any of these global like contrast or shadows, or let's say the clarity, then you will see that these parts starts to diminish little by little. So either avoid it from the beginning or try to counter it back at the end. Don't just forget about it. Okay? Now we will have a quick example, but before that, we will take a break for 15 minutes. And then we will be back for a quick, let's say, editing session. We will just discuss a few things later on. I think these points will help you big later. Okay, guys? 15 minutes. We will start around 6:35. يلا حالك؟ عساك طيب، يعطيك الصحة والعافية. الله يعافيك ويسلمك. واضح شفت؟ لا والله بالعكس. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. I'm so sorry because the last part is also very very special.
Will be doing this again, won't you?
Most probably not.
Ah,
To be honest with you, yeah. Yeah.
I have to, I can't.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. But by the way, this is also live on YouTube. So,
Are you have two session on YouTube?
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Pleasure to have you. الله يعافيك.
كيفك؟
يعطيكم العافية.
شكرا
يا هلا
شكرا على
فيكم.
الفرصة. هلا كله تمام بس
الحمد
في عندنا
لله.
سؤالين.
Yeah, sure.
First about I will speak in English because he doesn't speak
Sure.
Arabic.
Okay.
First the editing. You use the Lightroom for the blending the photos. Like when you take two shots. Do you
No,
blend? No.
no.
Photoshop,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
But there are actually very easy ways nowadays to do these kind of blending stuff.
Okay.
Not like it used to be back in the day. It was so difficult, so complicated to do the masking and to choose what to blend and what to not. But now, especially with AI and
AI.
stuff, I'll show you something really interesting
Okay.
after this break.
Actually, the video you show us, I was like, oh my god, I want to reach this level to do such a video.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
I like the idea how you blend the video with some shots of the photos during
Yeah,
the
yeah,
trip.
yeah, yeah.
I like this idea.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, sure.
Yes? Yes?
15 minutes.
Go on.
Okay, your question.
Regarding the polarizing,
Yeah.
do you recommend any particular brand? Because
Well-
I've done some research in some kind of polarizing that put some noise in the picture.
Yeah. Some of them, yes.
Yes, certain
From my
brands.
experience, the best I use is from a company called Breakthrough. Yes. And this company usually does not sell here, but you can order it online, and it's worth the money. If you're that specific about the quality of your images, then that would make you happy. And the other, these are when it comes to circular polarizers. But if you are more into the big ones and the one with the like holder and then you put the system on, we have another one here. It's called Nisi. Nisi filters. They are really good. But
Because I don't know the difference between, I know the circular ones, but I've seen the this kind of square ones. What
Yeah.
is the main difference?
the square ones are more delicate because you put them like glass. Yeah, and the point of it is that you can put that glass on almost any size of the lens because you have different lenses. But when you have the circular one, you need to know the thread of your lens and use the exact number. So basically, which one you go for has disadvantage and advantages. For me, I always go with the circular.
Breakthrough.
Yep. Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, there is one more thing I could tell you. In the last couple of years, I used to have something called filter adapter. Okay? Yeah, you can squeeze it and then it changes the thread size. And then you put only like 82 filter on top. And then it fixes on like 5 or 6 sizes of the lens. Yeah, maybe that one has also disadvantages, but maybe if you don't want to buy for every single one of them, maybe you want to consider that. Okay? You're welcome. You're welcome. انا هذا الماي عندي هنا. اسكت يا ريال راقد عريسه هذاك. رجعت لين الرجع طلعت سيبه الشكل الدينيه من البدايه. ايه هو نفس وصل تركب لك جايتني بالكيس.
trying to find all the picture where I could add this guy.
Okay. Keep creating new emails, get more free. Oops. Something right wrong. إن شاء الله على السنة الجاية. لا هالسنة أول سنة أوقف من 8 سنة. عندي فوكس على new company فاتحنا هني. I'm focusing more on the profile, connections and establishing. Establishment نخلص السنة الجاية we can go back to trips and so on. إن شاء الله إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. Always I said it's different, you know. It's بالنسبة لي أنا وايد تفرق حتى مو بس experience يعني teaching people especially in summary. جزاك الله خير إن شاء الله أشتري. اي جاهز. شو هي 8 الا ربع كنت راح اقول. ايه اوكي في اضاءة وكل شيء. اوكي تمام خلاص. لا ان شاء الله ان شاء الله ان شاء الله. ايه اسمح لي حقك علي انا يتكلمتني. Okay, I think we will start because we have a very restrictive schedule. The timing is very short. We'll start with this one, this example here. Let's go with this one. Okay. Okay, guys. So now for the last tip and the last discussion we will have for today is going to be about the AI, okay, and how we can make our life easier when we edit our photos, okay. Now we have an example here, and going back to the point we have spoke about earlier, it was the third dimension and the power of light sculpting. So what I mean about this, what is the third dimension? We already talked about it, right? The layers and what is back, and what is back. It gives you the depth and everything, and that's very important. Don't make your photos 2D. Always try to keep it as 3D. So immerse the person who watch it. It makes feel that you're in there, you're living it, or you're at least can imagine living such scene. Now, this photo here, we will practice together just two main things that I use in my edits, and I believe you can use these two small techniques very quick but very efficient, very effective in any type of photography and editing, not only in landscape. But here we will see together what are those points. So I put it in Photoshop. Who's here not familiar with Photoshop at all? Okay, so only 3 people. Okay, what I will try to do, I'll make it as simple as possible. not to complicate things out. Especially, I know it's sometimes overwhelming when someone says Photoshop. But here, let's say we have this image here. It's already a finished image. But at the same time, let's see together if we do some 3D stuff in editing. Can we take it to the next level? Can we go up a notch with it and make it more pops out, more beautiful, something with it? And with this, you will see what I mean right now. Now, this is the photo. What I will do basically, I'll press Command J, and I will have a new layer, a new copy layer. And then from here, I will just press this button down here. Let me make it big. Oh, this is the maximum. Okay, so I'll press this plus down here and make a new empty layer, 1 and 2. Okay? So what I will do with these two, just if you are taking notes, this is where you have to take notes. If you're not, then just don't. Now, the first layer where what I will do is change the blending mode of the layer. Now I'm choosing this one, the first one. Let's skip this one, take it out. Once you take the eye out, it means you are not seeing anything. But now we're with this layer, layer 2. I will call it here. Let's say dodge and burn. And this one is color contrast. So let's go back to dodge and burn, and then I will change the blending mode of this layer from normal to soft lights. Okay? Now, if I have a normal brush, which is this one here, I click on it. Always make sure the brush has soft hardness, which is 0. Okay? The edges are very soft. Make sure the opacity is 100 and the flow is between 5 to 10. So you can see it, but it's not too much dramatic. Let's say, for the sake of example, let's go 40, and you can, guys, see if I do this. What am I doing right now? I'm painting light. Okay? Let's go back. If I change the color here down there, you see it? If I change it from white to black by pressing X or pressing this button here, it changes to black. And now with a black brush, if I try to paint, what am I doing? I'm actually darkening the photo. So from the name of it, dodge and burn, I'm actually dodging and burning the photo. Now I'm controlling the light. Now, to make the scene more 3D, we need to understand how light works. And when we understand how light works, we can determine which side of the subject needs to be covered in light and which side of the object needs to be in shadow. In this instance, we can tell the sun is the back here, okay? So basically, it's not hitting anything beside this area. And this area here, you can see these small areas here. See this? This is all direct sunlight here, here. It's hitting these areas, right? But it's not hitting, let's say, this side of the mountain, of course. It's on the opposite side. But it's still hitting where? Here. You see? It's still hitting this area here. And so on. So understanding where the light comes from and the source of light in the picture will give me a clear indication which side of each subject in the photo needs to be in the light and which side needs to be in the shadow. And usually it's clear to your eye, but in some ways, sometimes it's very minimal that you can barely identify it, and it's good to emphasize it. Emphasizing things sometimes gives back the I wouldn't say illusion, but it gives back the third dimension that we are missing. Okay? Now, in this example here, if I spoke about contrast in any scene, in any natural scene. Usually it goes from super contrasted, less contrasted, less contrasted, less contrasted, less contrasted, less contrasted, and so on. This is how nature works. So imitating nature, going through this photo, let's see what we can come up with, okay? Brush, go big. The bigger you go, the smoother it will look on your photo. Okay? The smaller you go, like this, if I go, you can see it. You can see the line clearly. But if I go big, where is it? If I go really big like this, and then you can see blacks, but you cannot tell where does it stop. So now we go back again. We bumped up this 42 for the sake of explanation. Now I will go back to, let's say, 6. Okay? Now, what does this mean? What does opacity and flow means? Opacity means that I am open to use 100% of the effect that I'm just about to apply. So whenever I brush, I'm using 100%. But flow means that every brush going into any pixel for the first time will apply only 6% of that 100%. If I go back on it again, it will add 6% more on it until it reaches the maximum, which I allowed to 100. So basically, I'm building up the effect until I see its fit. Okay? Now, let's go back. Now, I'm zooming out. Why? Because I want to use a huge brush. I don't want it small. The smaller it is, the more difficult for me to make things, dark and not showing where I actually brushed. It will show, somehow your eyes will tell where, oh, there is a brush going all over this place. But to make things more softer, make it big, make sure it's soft again, hardness is 0. And then if I just click and then one side this way, one side this way, and then from here, I know this area, let's say we are trying to imitate the nature now. We know that the closer to the lens, the more contrasty it should be, right? So what I'm trying to do here, make this area more contrasty than this area. So I make more dark here, 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 and a little bit here, and maybe a little bit here, like this. Okay. Let's see. Before, after. Before, after. Now I see it's too strong. So what I do, I go to this layer, the opacity of it, and means the more I make it less, or the less I put it, the less it shows. So 50% means I'm allowing you to see or to apply only 50% of the effect. Okay? So now we go back, before, after, before, after. Okay, that's decent. Now my eyes can clearly see that the front elements are all more contrasty than the one in the middle. Now what should I do with the, let's say, the one in the middle here? I'm missing the light parts here. They don't have that punch to it. But I don't need to make it so punchy that it will be unreasonable. Why? Because the sun is not directly hitting them. It's in the back. It's partially hitting them. So what I would do, now this soft light, if I wanted to paint light instead of painting shadow like I did, what I would recommend you to do not paint with white. White takes out the colors. Let's see. If I change the colors here from black to white, press OK, or switch it from here black to white, it will be switched by itself. And then I try to paint anywhere. Let's say here, I want to paint light. Look at the blue. It's fading out. You see? See before? After? It's taking out the colors. Okay? So what is the best thing to do here is to choose the color from the light source. So I will open the white color and go to the light source here. Basically, this is no color. This is still white. Which color is this light? Is this one here, the yellow one. So I'll choose the yellow, and I will take the effect, put it here. Not pure white, but here. Little bit with the tint of that color. Now, with this in mind, I can also, if I see it, it's different. This is more orange. This is more yellow. I can make it a little bit more orange like this. Now it feels like more matching with this, right? Now click OK. Now wherever I paint light, where light is actually supposed to be, it will look natural. Look at this. See, I'm still painting light now. See, this is before, this is after. Okay, let's make it a little bit more stronger. If I want light to be more hitting this area here, so I'll go like this. And even the water, if I want it to be like golden or something, maybe. Let's see, before, after. Wait. Okay. So now, again, back to it. What I'm trying to do is emulate the depth. I edited this photo, and then I discovered that where is the depth? I'm missing some depth. Okay, this one is too much contrasty compared to this, right? Now this is supposed to be far in distance than this one. So to give that depth back, I need to make this more faded, less contrasty. So what I will do, I will paint light here to make it less contrasty, like this. And if I feel it's too yellow, I go back here, because there is no actual light here. No sunlight is hitting this part. That's why it will not be reasonable to use yellow. Okay, if you know what I mean. Now let's go to this color, and then where is the brightest part in this area? I would say maybe it's this one here. I'll take this color and then make it bright. Not true white, no, but less, with a small tint. Now if I paint, you see how natural it is? See, before, after. Now it looks far in distance, more than before. Now this feels more closer to me, this is far away. But if I take this effect, not anymore. You can tell, right? So keep in mind this whenever you are trying to, bring back this dimension again. Now let's say smaller details. Now we did this, now we know soft light is meant to dodge and burn. Make things more in the shadow, make things more in the light. So what about the other one? Color contrast. Now here, where it comes to punching colors. Now this one you need to change it from not soft light, but overlay. Change the blend mode to overlay. Again, this is overlay, this is soft light. Okay? Now let's see what overlay does. Now I have a light in here, I showed you a little bit of things. Oops. Menu. Light? Oh, really? Really? Wow. Oh, they have AI, wallahi. Oh, God. Okay. Let's cover this fast. Okay, okay. So, now, if I want to, let's say, punch some colors inside this area. You see the light hitting this part? But it does not have a dimension. It feels like everything is mushed in together, like combined. So to have a contrast within, we either have to make the darker parts darker or the lighter parts lighter. In this area, in this scenario, I would use the overlay here, as I mentioned, and then same flow, same opacity, same everything, but now I will choose this color. Clicking on option will give me this eyedropper tool. I will click on this color, and basically this color will change automatically to the color I chose. And then I will go back to it. I'll make it more lighter, like this. And then try it out. Let's see. You see? Wherever there is light, I'm clicking. I'm moving. Maybe here a little bit. Maybe here. Here. Maybe here, I would say. Okay. And so on. You get the idea about this now. Let's say this area have more light in it, more color. And let's go back a little bit here. We have some spots here we can actually highlight. I'll add the flow a little bit more. Make this one pop. This one here. And this one. Just for the sake of this example, I'm over-exaggerating some of the things just for you guys to know what it's doing. But at the same time, we'll fix it later on. So, let's see before and after, okay? So this is a small area here. Now it feels more like 3D, okay? Let's lower the opacity a little bit. Okay, so before, after. Before, after. You see? That's a huge difference. Now imagine this is on a bigger scale. Let's say here, this area maybe. I want to make it more pop. Or let's see, this area has more light. I want to even exaggerate the light in here, like this. Or in the back, like this. Or even sometimes, the bleeding of this color into the scene. We can make it more, like this. See? Before, after. Before, after. This is now more yellow. And these tiny things, tiny edges with lights on them, the more you work on them, the more 3D the whole photo looks. Especially if it's on the subject matter. Okay? So now what I will do with this, I will go with, again, the soft light. I will go black. Again, what is this for? Burning. Okay, shadow. Yes. Perfect. So what I will do, I will exaggerate a little bit of the shadow here, like this. This is too much. We'll go a little bit less flow. Here, here, and then a little bit here, and maybe in the front. See, it's very, very minimal. You can barely see what I'm doing, but if you go back and forth, look at that. Look. Now, I will go on top here. I will add the overlay again with the color, same color, this one. I will pop these guys, these clouds. So, click. Like this. Okay. Okay. See, before, after, little bit goes a long way. Now, if we go back, let's reduce this a little bit from the opacity side. Yes. Now let's combine those two by clicking Shift, click, selecting all of them. Now Command G will put them all in a group. Now if I take it out, look at this before, and this is after. Wait. This is more clear now. So this is before, and this is after. Before, after. Now both of them are not bad, both of them are okay, but the second one has a clear depth impact other than the first one, compared to the first one. So now quickly going from this, now we understand those two techniques, 2 points. Now I will try to put this also in a practice. We will do a very quick edit for this shot here. And in this edit, I want to show you, where is it? 1 second. In this edit, I want to show you how we evolved from the, like, years back, taking hours and hours of editing one single photo, to nowadays being able to pull out something really amazing in a few minutes, maybe an hour or so. Okay? So, this photo here, this is the original one, and correcting the perspective of it and removing the guy from here, we ended up having this. Now this is the raw image, okay? So this is the raw image, non-edited. Just correcting perspective and cleaning the image from the guy standing here, we ended up with this image. Now the part we are going to cover is how to take this image from this level or this stage to the final stage, which is this one. Okay, and what it takes to do so. Okay, let's see together. There are actually many ways, but I will take the easiest way possible to make it easier on you guys, and also to show you the power of AI. We hear about AI, we know that people use it to create images and so on, but not many people use it actually in their editing workflow. Okay? So let's see how we can implement that. Now, taking this image, right-click, I'll take it from Lightroom as it is to edit in Photoshop. Oh, wait, I have an idea. You want, guys, a record of this? Do you want me to record this session? Okay. Options. Show mouse. And should be video. Record entire screen. Option. Show mouse. And non-microphone is yes. Okay, so let's start from here. Okay, let's record. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I believe it is already recording. I hope I did not mess up the settings. And let's start. So right-click from here, going from Lightroom to Photoshop, and then we click Edit. We go there, and we start editing the photo here. Oh, I already took it twice. No, this is close. Don't save. Okay, let's start. Now, the first thing I will do, because this is locked, rather than just opening it, I will just have a quick copy of it, Command and J. And then, first thing to do is, I will do the same technique I just showed you guys. 1, 2, and look at this. This is unedited, okay? It will have a bigger impact than the previous one. Now, this is unedited, okay? So, let's read the scene again. So, the scene shows the main source of light is coming from which way? Above, right? From here. We can clearly see it. So, keeping that in mind, we can emphasize this in the edit and minimize if there are imbalances in light between the right and left. Because why? Because we have our subject matter here. And the line of the stream is actually leading us directly to our subject matter, the waterfall. So what I will do now, this area is insignificant. It's unimportant because it doesn't have something that leads the eye inside. It has this one, this line maybe, or maybe this one, but nothing here. This is maybe distracting. whenever you have distracting elements in your photo, it's always better to take them out. If you have any distracting elements in the scene, I see people do like always going to any scene, they want to include everything in the scene. No. Look for the most simplest, the most, I would say, photogenic, but with less and less distractions. Like dead grass or a broken wooden branch is falling there, or something like a small hole in the area with no importance at all. Why do I have to include these parts in my photo? If you can, take them out before you shoot, while you're shooting. If you cannot, then you're free to do so in the editing part. So what I will do now, I will try to minimize the importance of this part and lead the eye from darkness to light. Usually the eye goes where the light is. So I will keep my focus that this area should be the most dominant in light, and at the same time the eyes can tell that the light is coming from this way. Okay? So again, layer, soft light, big brush, now make it black. Okay, and the flow is 9. Okay, now let's brush here. 1. Now this area is becoming too dark, so I'll try to go over this only, like this. And let's see before, after, okay? Wait. Okay, now which area should I also minimize the lights on? Now this photo here, from my perspective, if it was shot with a polarizer, you see these reflections here? This whole reflection, you see how it's like reflecting light in some areas, here and here. It's like shiny surface. All of this will be gone if you have a polarizer. More so, you see these leaves have like some sort of reflection. Even this will be gone. So it's not only about water or something near the water. It's about the whole scene. You see? Here, this area here has reflections of light. With the polarizer, all of this will be gone. Everything will be green. Even if it has more light, but it will not be shiny. It will not be popping out like this. Okay? So for me to counter this, since this photo was not taken with a polarizer, what I would do, I will still use this technique and darken some of the areas. Now, keep in mind the shape of the element that you are darkening. If I wouldn't do, let's say, this. No. Why? Because this shape here is actually bending inside. So I need to keep in mind this part needs to be darker than the top one. With practice, with your eye and with seeing a lot of photography like this, you will start to identify these things. And then eventually when you edit, you will see them directly and do them naturally. So what I would do here, I will do small stuff or small clicks. 1, 2, 3. I think that's enough. And then make this one a little bit more darker. And then here it's supposed to be lighter than here, so I will do this. Okay. This is too much. Go a little bit smaller. Nope. Should be inside. Okay. Now it makes a lot of sense to the eye. And this should be more darker since it's on the opposite direction. Now let's take this out and you can see for yourself. Now this is before, this is after. I will continue so on the same path, but with these rocks, it's too shiny for me, so what I would do is darken it a little bit, go up here. As long as my brush is soft, I'm okay with, you know, just crossing here and there, but not much. See, now it's too much, so I'll go back. I'll make it smaller, make this more darker, like this. And now, to give the emphasis of this, as this side is the highest one, so I'll make this one lighter a little bit, like this. Okay. Perfect. Now, are you guys following what I'm doing here and why? Okay, perfect. Now, this rock has two sides. One is going down, one is siding with the light source, which is here, from top. So what I would do is I make this side a little bit darker than this side. Why? It will give it more dimension. It will make it more 3D. Look. And maybe this one a little bit here and there. Inside here. And light will go back X. When I press X, the colors shifts from black to white. So this is a quick one. This is too much. Less flow, maybe. Okay, so let's go back again and see before, after, before, after. The point is, we took a lot of the attention that is given to these elements for no reason. These are not the main or the subject matter of my photo. So why would I give them more attention by giving them light and glare and so on? So doing so will reduce that effect. Now, let's go on top here. All I'm doing now is basically darkening and giving light. So this is light. I'll go back to darken with X. We go back to black. And here, again, now I'm darkening, right? So I will keep in mind, I do not over darken here because it will kill what? The dimension. We spoke about contrast being super dark, less dark, less dark, less dark, less contrast, I would say, less contrast. So I would not make this contrast similar to this. That would basically kills the whole dimension. So I will go first here, and this area has almost no shadows, so I will just keep. Now, the moment I do this, you will start to see these plants are popping out nicely. Here and here. It's just, you know, darkening stuff. You know, this is what it's called the local editing. Okay, this is more into painting, yes, I know, but basically you're just deciding where the mask is or where you should edit without choosing a circle or brushing it first and then doing the edit. You can clearly see on spot the point when you brush, you see the result by itself. So for me, this is more effective. You can clearly see, go back, make this area a little bit different than this, a little bit than this. But if you choose the regular one with the big circles or something, usually it has all the same impact, and then you go inside deep and then clear it up. So let's go here, make it a little bit darker here. Now I'll switch back to, oh wait, here we missed this part. I'll make this, see, this side, the lower side, I'll make it more black, more dark here. Makes sense because it's away from the light source. Here, 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 same. Here the same, but not the top side because it's facing the light source. So if I do this, and then I switch to light, and then I emphasize the light on top. Here, here, you will see how 3D these things can look just by doing these small steps. This is light, go back to dark, X, then make the lower part darker. Usually the part that's facing the light, it has more light. The part that's facing the ground has less ground, more shadow. So this is what I'm doing. And even this plant, go down here, this one here. If you want to dig deep into this, you can spend hours on it. But I wanted to show you how bigger of an impact this might do to your photography if you give it some time. Sometimes I'm really lazy. I just do it quickly, you know. I do only the bigger subjects or the bigger subject matters or the elements. But sometimes I'm into it and I really dig deep into details. But you will see why. You see, look, just not these big things. Just look at this part. Look at these rocks here. Look before and look after. Before, after. See the difference it makes? It's a huge difference, right? So, this is only on a single empty layer. No complicated things, just brushing stuff with a very low flow. Means I can still click once, twice, and still the effect is barely showing. That's why you might think now, oh, he's so good at it, that's why it looks nice. But it's not this way, actually. It's really about how hard is the brush. And I see people even using the pen. I don't know what they call it. The pen when they edit, they have like some sort of pen in editing. And then they use that pen to do the opacity of the brush. So they are very professional in it. For me, I am not. That's why I'm showing you guys this is easy. I'm telling you it's easy. So let's go to the other part now, since we already darkened most of the areas we need to darken. Here and there. Okay. And I need more light here, I believe. Yeah. Now this way it looks more 3D. Now see, before and after. Again, before, after, before, after. Again, if you see it too much, after you finish, you can just lower the opacity a little bit. Yes, why? Because the light here is white. Usually it's not, but in this case it's white. And if I am lighting up these greens, I will change the color because the light on them is not white. It's actually more into yellow. You see this one? This and this. All depends on the lights in that subject. We will do now the color contrast. Yes, dodge and burn is mostly for darkening and lightening stuff. The color contrast is to pop out the lights that's already in specific parts, yes. So it's more condensed, more rich when it comes to color. The soft light is like more hazy. It's introducing new color more than just popping out the exact color that is in, okay? So we'll go now to the second one again. Now this one here will be overlay. Now you will see what I mean. Now this thing, if I go with soft light, and I want to make it more lighter, okay? Look at this. Let's pick this color, make it more light. Now, if I want to paint, look what will happen. It's not showing well, but I will emphasize it here. Look. You see what happened? You killed the contrast. So basically, you can use this tool to introduce dimension again. That's why we use it. We kill the contrast in areas, and sometimes we keep it. But with the other tool, which is this, the overlay, if I come here, pick this color, look. It's not the same. It's focusing more on the colors, you see? So what we will do here, we'll go to this again. Okay, removed everything. Oh, one more thing. We missed one thing. Here, we don't have a very dark part. But here we do. You see this area? So what I would suggest, I will balance the photo now using this soft light. Or you can also use another thing, which is go back to the layer here. And here, you have something called dodge and burn. The only downside to these tools, they work directly on your pixels. So they actually work directly on the pixel of the photo. You cannot moderate or change them later on. Let's say this is the photo now. I need to work on this photo to punch something. Wait. Let's use midtones here. Or, okay, midtones. And increase the exposure. Let's increase this area. Now, what you will see is, see, before, after. Let's make it more apparent. Okay. And midtones is the middle of your histogram. Not too dark, not too light. These are the pixels we are targeting to edit. Okay. So I chose here dodge, which means lighten up, make it more lighter. If I choose burn, makes it more darker. Now I will lighten up this dark area, which is supposed to be in the shadow. Here, click. See? Now, if I go back and forth, you see? You see this effect now? It's more balanced, okay? Look at this. Before, after. Before, after. Now it looks more balanced, right? Between this area and this area. And now we can work on the middle. Now will be the fun part. Now we finished almost with whatever we want from dodging and burning. Now let's go to the AI part, okay? Now in Photoshop, I have something called, let's first combine all the layers that we worked on, which are only those two single layers, basically. Everything here will go into one layer on top. So what I would do is Shift, Option, Command, E, and this will make one layer. Wait. Shift, Option, Command, E. هي مسوي select لحظة. Wait, let's open a new one. Shift, Option, Command, E. Okay, now it worked. Now what I will do is go to Filters. I have something added here called Skylum Software. And this is an add-on I used and I bought for maybe $70, $80, something like that. And it's only one time. No subscription, but they have subscription which cost a lot. But back in the day, I bought this for very cheap. Now, if you buy this software, you can see why I am using it right now, but you don't have to. But let's have a quick look what the AI can save your time when it comes to editing. So spending hours in editing, in some cases, are not needed anymore, okay? Thanks to these softwares, one of which is this one, Luminar Neo. I click on it, and what happens is, it takes the photo from here, it puts it where? In the software. So this is Luminar Neo here. We click on Edit. Now look at the options here. I have Enhance. If I click on it, Enhance AI. With one slider here, look the changes happening in the image, okay? Basically, it's doing multiple things together. It's increasing lights, contrast in some areas, and colors in some areas, and so on. But sometimes you like the edit, sometimes you don't. But I would always encourage you, when you finish with any type of edit, make it local. Don't make it global. Meaning, if I finish from this, either I take this edit back to Photoshop, and then I mask it out with masking. Or I can click here, masking, and I choose brush and only the area I want it to affect on, not the whole thing, okay? Unless it is necessary or you need it, but most probably you won't. You will be targeting a small area. So let's go to Sky AI. Does not apply here. We'll have a quick one later on. We have development. Look at the smart contrast here. It's not contrast. It's smart contrast. Look how it does. Voila. Now, this is becoming too dark again, so I will go to blacks. This is similar to Lightroom, if you guys are familiar with Lightroom. Okay, so we'll go up a little bit. That's it. Now, let's go with structure. Most people go with structure is going, okay, punch in. Oh, wow, all the details are coming in. But most professionals, you would be amazed that they reduce it instead of increasing it. So, in this case, less is better. Sometimes this area, you see the whole image has tons and tons of details. How many leaves are there? If you pop out the image, it will be too distracting. And we don't want that. Okay, so what we usually do, less, a little bit, not much, will reduce a little bit of the punch in these leaves. And then color here, sometimes you have a photo which is too warm or too cold. This will help you to remove it just by one click. In Photoshop or Lightroom, it will take many minutes to, maybe an hour just to try to get the white balance right or the colors right and so on. So this is one click solution. This takes it out for you, so we will take a little bit off. And yeah, yes, it gets you there without running, just, yeah. Landscape. Now, dehaze, no, I don't like this one, what it does. Golden hour. You see, if you're shooting in sunsets or sunrise, and you have these colors there, but it's really pale, it does not punch in. Sometimes you use this, don't go insane on anything, okay? So go look at the colors now. See, before, after. It punches the yellow and orange more in the photo. So this is crazy, but some people, I don't know, they use it. I don't recommend this at all. So what I will use now, because it's foliage, it's not sunset, I have something down here called foliage enhancer. So what I will use this, but very cautiously. Don't go this. Oh, green. No, this is not green. This is Hulk green. I don't know why people would go for something like this. So just go with something like this. Okay, let me show you something. So I will go crazy here a little bit. Now, let's say the tint that it produces, I don't like it. Then I go advanced settings, and I can control which color I want. I want it more into autumn season, or let's say colder, like super greenish or something. But this is too much, of course. This will help you decide the color, the tint you want. Let's say we want this one, not too much green, just in case. Now I can go lower on this. So I would say 5, for me personally, is more than enough. See, before, after. Always take it one step at a time. Don't rush it. Don't just put things. It will be crazy to try to remove things later on. So building up step by step is much better. Okay, atmosphere. This is the 3D aspect we have spoke about. When we talk about elements, they have like 3D looks in between them. They have contrast levels between the front and the back. Look what does this do. Amount, click. It introduces fog back again in the image. And believe it or not, this is AI. It can detect where the mountains are and where the the sky is, and it will put the fog where it's supposed to be 90% of the time. And if you don't like some of it, then you can mask it out. Doing these steps in Photoshop takes hours. Okay, now I will put it very low, like 4 or 5 is enough, I believe. I don't want to kill the whole contrast I built up here by doing so. And then we have something called mood. Here you can choose if you think that you did not reach the colors that you wanted or the look that you wanted. This might help you get that colors in. So going from here, look at this. Cinematic tuning will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different looks with one click. Okay? And creative, even more. Look. You see? So for this one in particular, I prefer to go with, let's say, either Riverside or Santa Barbara. Okay, I will go with this one. And before, after, I think the shadows here are too crunchy, becoming too dark. So what I would do is reduce the contrast a little bit and reduce the amount a little bit. So before, after. Mystical will give a very dreamy look to the objects with lights. So if I increase this, look, it gives you that dreamy look that people use in their landscapes. So using this, sometimes you can only mask, or you want to only mask a radial filter maybe here. That's it. And then maybe, where is it? Switch it back. Let's see. Okay, masking, more, invert. Okay, now it's only in the middle. You see? You see the waterfall? Before, after. Before, after. Okay. Let's go back to the tools. Now we have, let's say, the last couple of edits. One of the strongest things here is if you have something way over light, it has way over light, and you want to put that light a little bit down and get that details out again, you can use this super contrast. Basically, it cuts the contrast slider in Photoshop and Lightroom to 3 different slides. One focused on the highlights. So if I draw this down, you see the water now has more detail. And this punches in more. So I will take it a little bit. Shadow, bring back more detail in the shadow. And then that's it. Last thing is color harmony. This is a very strong tool. Color contrast. You remember the color contrast we did manually, the overlay one? This is 10 times stronger, so you need to use it wisely. So what we do here, increase it, let's say 50%, and then look where are the colors that it's targeting. Now it's targeting what? The green, right? The green and the yellow. So the more you move this color slider here, it shifts between colors. The effect shifts. Now it's on the water. Now it's on the rocks. Now back to the greens. So which one is the best targeted? Would be in the beginning, I believe, here, right? So before, after. Now I can reduce the effect and then start very gently introducing such effect now. Before, after, this small punch, look what it did here. Look. Before, after. Before, after. It has more beautiful colored contrast than before. Done. That's it. Apply. And basically, we're done. Look. Now, if we exclude the explaining part and the steps that I took to explain and talk, you can do this in like how many minutes? Yeah, something like that, 5-10 minutes. That's how easy it is now to reach a very, I would say, reasonably good image. And it's good for print, depending on your camera. Now, let's have one last thing before we finish. We close this. Let me put this one in. Where is it? Wait. Desktop, wait. Downloads. And it's should be here. Okay, let's just, you know what? Let's just add any photo from here. I'm sorry, I don't have one ready, okay? But I will just take this as an example if you don't mind. Okay, let's take this as an example. Now, let's say you're using something similar to this. You have a photo with the sky and the mountains and so on. Or wait. This one is the better choice. Where is it? Desktop. Paper. Yeah. Something like this one back again. Wait. It's not opening. Okay. Let's say this is an example. We take it to Luminar just to show you one last thing about what this AI is capable of. And let's say you want to change the sky. And if you noticed, we have something called Sky AI here. But if you go here and tell it like, okay, I don't like this sky, give me this sky. And then it reads the whole image and then decides, okay, this is what I have to change. Okay, so you will notice here are some issues, but you can do it here. You can readjust stuff here, flip the whole image if the sun is directed from the other side, put it here or there. Okay, mask refinement, you can close the gaps here. It will refine the whole thing. It will bring back the mountains that it took out. See, you can tell here. So anyway, this is one very interesting image. Now, if you let's say choose this. Okay, now we have sky. Okay. Now, okay, you will tell me, Khalid, okay, you put sky like this, but then the foreground does not match. This one here has a matching slider. Look, it has something called scene relighting. So when you come here, you put relighting scene, it changes to dark. Now it's dark. See? Put saturation up. If you have a human here and you want him to pop out, you just put relight human up. That's it. It will go up. And the funny thing is, if you have water like this, you want to be believable, this should be reflected down here. Okay, go ahead. Put something inside the water. Now, if you zoom in, you can see this is reflected a little bit from top to here. So adjusting these things will end up giving you a very reasonable and believable image. But how I use it personally, I don't use these photos from their own. You can come here, you go to a scene, you have a very beautiful sky. You take it by yourself, you wait a little bit, you take another shot to the foreground and so on, and then you want to blend those two. Come here, press this plus. It will tell you, okay, tell me which sky you want me to put. It will choose your own sky, and then it will add it to you, to your own photo, instead of going and selecting the sky if you have any issues with it. And this is one last thing here as well, which is really unbelievable, is, where is it? Let's just go back. Now, we have a tool here called sun rays. And in some cases, you have like trees and so on. And in this instant, if you go to sun rays, you place the sun. This is the sun, okay? So imagine this is the sun, and you give a sun out. Okay, and then the sun, where is it going? Oh, it's going behind. Wait, it's going behind the sky, behind the clouds. It's not showing. How does it read that? Now it's out again. Where is it? Okay, there it is. See? So let's emphasize this even more so you can see it. If you go behind the mountain, and then decrease the penetration, it's gone. I don't know how it reads. Like, look. How does it read this? I don't know. But it's crazy. If you have a big mountain, better example than this, you will be shocked. Like even the small spaces between the trees, it can go inside. So that's it for this. Now we're done with the editing, done with exploring new things, exploring new techniques and softwares. Last but not least, we want to thank again our sponsor, Honor, to make this possible. And I will tell you quick details about my experience with this flagship from Honor. It's the Magic 5 Pro. And I used it personally with the raw data. Look at how much. This is the raw image I took in Oman a few weeks back. And to pull out such details on colors and information out of this, I have actually never heard of, like in a mobile phone. The raw data that comes out from it is crazy. You can pull out a lot of details. So having the raw like that one and then ending up with a photo like this, for me it used to be only with DSLRs and mirrorless, I would say. But now things are changing, and this experience is real. So that's why I brought to you my own experience with it and the photos that I took myself. So this is also another raw file. Look how much details I can pull out inside this darkness here. And by the way, this phone, I will pass it to you guys. You can check the camera of it. The features on the camera of this phone is unbelievable. I was overwhelmed by how much features is already in there. So next, enable. And they have AI built in. You know, they have a feature, they call it AI motion sensing. And the one responsible of it is the Falcon millisecond capture. Those features, you will see them inside the module, the photography features. And from here, you will see like something like this. It's exactly similar to this sign here. If you activate this, now it can actually detect any movement in the scene, and then it captures the photo, the best possible frame for you. If you like to be lazy, you know. No, but seriously, this is I've never seen it anywhere. So this is really impressive for me. AI, you can choose the lights before you shoot the video. You can shoot in 2 different cameras at the same time. Have you guys heard about this before? I don't know. For me, this was the first. So I'll pass this to you guys. Even in the end, you have like more. And then inside, you see super macro, slow motion, panorama, time lapse, multi-video, high resolution photos, and stories. So for me, it was overwhelming just to try most of these features. You can pass this from here. There you go. Have a quick look if you want. Pass it to the next person. And let's go back. Now, until you have the phone in your hand, you will notice also there is a night mode. And I was trying to challenge this camera actually to pick up details in the darkest possible scenarios. So I went out on top of a mountain, like, I don't know if it's around 3,000 meters or so, and there was only the moon. Nothing, you can see nothing except the moon is showing, and the moon is only lighting things up. Now, with the moon only lighting things up, I did not expect, to be honest, something like this. So this came out, has colors in it. You know, the only reason you see this way, because there was wind, a little bit of wind, and to shoot such exposure, you needed less shutter speed. So it takes like 20 seconds to capture one photo. So everything is moving. But look at the details. This one are the same thing. It's after the blue hour. Only the moon is up there. You still can see colors, see details. So this is really impressive. This is also my experience with the JPEG. Now, I tried the RAW. Let's say, I said, let's check the JPEGs, if the JPEGs are any good. The colors that comes out of the JPEGs are really, really good. And of course, all the photos that I present to you today are edited by me, but still, if the file does not have the capability to do so, then we would end up having nothing than just simple. No, like this one, see, this is black and white. Very simple, very direct and forward, but now this is only checking the zoom details of the photo. And the macro. Well, macro, I had some good experience, good tries and failed tries. I did not capture everything I wanted. But just to give you a perspective, look at the details and this inside, and this is the real thing. And you can go even further. Literally, you can put your finger behind the lens like this, and it will focus on your hand. So now they have a competition open. They have two, actually. One version of it is global. The other one is regional. And you can actually participate in both. And you can read. These are the categories that they have. And you guys can check from this. This is the link for the global competition. And by the way, they have really amazing prizes. Look at the prizes. I would highly encourage you to get involved with this, try it out, and try both actually, the international one or the global one and the regional one. This is for the global one, and it has more than $100,000 collective in cash and products, with the first winner having $15,000, which is really amazing. You can fund your own trip, photography trip or something, and still have even more money. Okay, so the second one is the regional, and the regional also, this is the link for it. You can take it from here. And they have also different prizes here as well. So this is the regional one. You guys all captured it? No? Wait. I don't know if this is possible. But try now. Okay? No? No luck? Okay, I'm sorry for this. Huh? It worked. Well, it worked for some of you guys. Okay, so after we finish this, I will keep this on for you guys. Okay, we're closing up now. If you guys have any questions, please feel free, and I will be happy to answer. So, yes.
Okay, just a moment. Can you please use the mic?
Yes, sure.
Can you switch on the lights now? Yes. Okay.
Yes, when you're doing when we are editing the photos,
Yeah.
is there a specific type of monitors we need to use? Because from my experience, I edited my photos at one place. When I took it to my work monitor, I've seen like a different
Yeah.
colors. So now I'm willing to buy a new monitor. What is the best monitors to use for
Okay,
editing photos?
that's a nice question. To be honest, there is a solution. There is a solution for the color shifts, and it can work with almost all the laptops and computers nowadays, which is called color calibrator. This is a small machine you can just buy for a couple of $100 dirhams, and what they actually do is you just plug them in front of your screen, and run their own software, and they will do everything for you. You will see your screen go like red and yellow and all the colors in the spectrum, and basically it's calibrating everything for you. And then when it's done, that's it. You go back and just edit. You will see a huge shift if you have a problem with this.
I see a lot of you go and buying new screens. You find like this is having this sort of technology or something like this.
No, this does not depend on the screen. There are other things that you can actually look for in the screen, but not this one. The color shifts usually are corrected through these machines. But if you have like, let's say you need more accuracy in the tints of colors, then yes, maybe you will go for ISO. ISO is one of the best when it comes to screens and color accuracy. But if you have problems with color accuracy in your own current laptop, let's say, then the best thing to do is not buy a screen, it's just buy a calibrator and then calibrate it. And usually every 6 months or so, you need to recalibrate again because it shifts. Okay? Any other questions?
Are you using focus stacking?
Yes? Actually, I mentioned this at the beginning when I mentioned how I take my technique when I focus on the foreground and then I switch up. You were here? Okay. So that technique actually includes 2 photos with 2 different focuses. So basically stacking them together is part of what is called focus stacking. Yeah. All depends on the depth of field that you have. The closer you have elements to your lens, the more F number you would need. And eventually, these F numbers will not, be enough. That's why we need focus stacking. But if you don't have something close to your lens, and you have a wide angle, usually F11 is more than enough, even between F11 to F16. Yeah? Any other questions? Yeah?
Please.
You didn't say anything about ND filter, so it means you are using only polarization filter?
No. I'm actually also using ND filters, but for the sake of the time of this session, yeah. But also the ND filter I did not talk about because it's more common for people to know it and to know why they use it, other than the polarizers and why they need it. And that's why I chose polarizers to highlight it. Yeah? Other questions? Yeah?
Can you just share your experience
Please.
about the TK?
Yeah, the TK action.
Yeah.
Okay, the TK action is a whole different story. I don't think it's the right time to discuss it here because it's the most advanced course that I give for post processors,
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
it's I would say the most accurate way of selecting anything, almost anything in your photo. And then if you know how to select precisely, then you can do local editing more precisely. That will get you the best results you can get.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sure.
That photo you showed with the polarizer,
Yeah.
there is it's with the long exposure actually.
Yeah.
It was daytime. Did you use ND in combination with that?
No, I did not use ND filter. Why? Because it was not actually daytime. It was almost blue hour. And that's why I was able to shoot in around 2 seconds or so. By rising my F number, I was able to shoot in that exposure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. But in most cases, yes, I use both. If that was your question, yes, I do use both. Yeah. Other questions?
Thank you, Khalid, for
You're
the
welcome.
session. Actually, I want to ask now, in the middle of our journey to photography, landscape photography, what is your advice for the, let's say, one mediocre person in between? Is he focusing on the editing more, or focusing on the photography itself, taking the picture? Because sometimes you know how to compose the picture, but the final result, which you want to,
Yeah, I get your question.
to show
Okay.
to people, which one is the most important?
Okay. For me, it's both are important, of course, as you know. But let's say, for the sake of it, first, you need to identify yourself. Which type of photographer are you? If you are an artistic photographer, let's say you always tell yourself that you're creating art, then that's a different story than the person who actually always say to himself that I capture moments. Okay, creating art, it's basically that you want to envision, have something in your vision and then translate that in your photography. But capturing moments is different. It's more into documentary side, and these mentalities usually they have the concept of minimal editing. Both are right because they know where they are heading. It pains me when I see one from this side telling the other side, no, you should not do that, or you have to do that. You know, because they see themselves as in the right path. They think this is the only path. No, there are other paths. But in editing combined with photography, I would say it's 60% or so when it comes to weight to photography, and I would say 40% to editing from an artist side, not from a, let's say, capturing moments only. Okay, not documentary. And for the person to focus more on, I would say they can focus on any of these two first, and then improve, and then move to the other side, and then go boost. If they keep juggling these two, usually it takes longer from my experience. But if you focus more for a certain amount of time in one aspect, it will benefit you more. I hope that answered the questions.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. Okay, everyone. That's better now, yeah? Thank you very much for coming. Since long time we didn't have full house. Thank you, Khalid. We give him a big hand. It was really an amazing lecture. Thank you. We were waiting for it before the lockdown, you remember? Thank you very much, everyone, and please allow us to take a group photo. We have rarely that number here. Can you please stand up and come a little bit closer? And we will take the photo from here. And please, outside, don't leave before taking your certificate, the participation certificate, and the small gift from HIPAA.